Oh no, like in the Bible, it talked about how they, you know, how
In the Bible, the
the tree
people
didn't.
were under the fall,
Mm-hmm.
tilling, and because of that, the ground was deficient. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Bible is written to a culture of people that are under the fall, that are not operating how they should be. If you've ever read the book, the Bible, when the Creator comes back here very soon for the next 1,000 years, it says in Acts chapter 3, He's going to restore everything as it was in the beginning. There will be no eating of meat by anyone. Because you see, to eat meat, you have to kill an innocent animal. That's not the heart of the Father, whose essence is love. For the next 1,000 years, even the predators in nature will not be eating, because the lion is going to lie down with the lamb. And all of us will be eating the diet that's recorded in Genesis 1:29, vegetables, fruits, and seeds, because that's how it was in the beginning. Did you ever read the genealogy of the people living on that level? The average age is 933 years with no record of illness. After the flood, with the introduction of meat, it went down to 120. Connect the dots, really. I'm just telling you, man, you pay attention. The Creator knows what He's doing, and He gave us our diet right up front. You know what's interesting about the Creator? Is that He knew we'd go to school, and He knew we lied to. He knew that. And so He wrote the first chapter of Daniel to help us get it. Did you ever read the first chapter of Daniel? Here you've got these 4 teenagers who are exiles, who are prisoners of war, who are teenagers, because Daniel's a prime minister 70 years later. And I love, these guys are sharp because they're paying attention to the owner's manual, and the people around them, these guys are really with it. Let's bring in the government and put them to work because they're sharp. So Daniel gets there and he makes this amazing statement. He says, I'm not going to pollute myself, corrupt myself with this dead processed food. So he goes to the guy feeding and says, listen, this food you're giving me is not good for me. Would you give us vegetables and water? He didn't even include fruit. He says, vegetables and water. And so the guy says, well, Daniel, you got to have the 4 basic food groups. If you don't, I'll take my head off. Daniel says, let's be real. Give us a 10-day test. 10 days. We're not going to die, and you evaluate what we look at. Did you ever read the test? It says they were brighter. They were smarter. And I love the King James. It says they were fatter. They weren't obese. They had more muscle mass. They were more buff. Are you hearing? They were more buff on vegetables and water. And that's put there to connect us to the reality of Genesis 1:29. I love it. Wake up. You just live far better when you eat right. You know, can we talk about meat? Honestly? We want to be honest about meat. Let's define meat. Meat is a dead carcass. We're being honest here. We're not trying to make it look good. We're just being honest. Meat is a dead carcass. To make it edible, they hang it for a period of time, which causes it to rot. That's what it's doing when it's hanging. It's rotting. So now you have a dead, rotten carcass. So when you go to eat your dead, rotten carcass for dinner, you're wide awake, not tired, completely feeling good. After you eat that dead, rotten carcass, what do? You sit down and rest or go lay down because you're exhausted. You didn't do any work. You weren't tired prior to eating. Why, when eating, which should energize and make you, more with it, totally make you tired? The reason is this material, this dead, rotten carcass, is very hard to digest. And all the blood has moved into the digestive tract to try to break it down because it's hard to do. Then when that's done and you defecate, it comes out black, hard, and stinks. Now, in our conversation, was there anything good? I know it tastes good, but really, it's not good for us. It's not beneficial to our bodies. And here's the insanity of what you get in school. And this shows you how they trained you not to think. They tell you in school, there's 4 basic food groups. Did you go to the same school I did? Did you go to the same school I did? 4 basic food groups? Well, the Creator says there's 2. And they tell you that meat provides you with protein. You have to have meat to get protein. I mean, have you all heard that? Here's the insanity. Ever look at the animals producing the protein? A buffalo, a cow, these horses, these huge, powerful animals, major muscle mass, who can way outrun, way outlift, way outwork you. What's their diet? It's called grass on a 24-hour basis, 365 days a year for their whole life, a one-course meal. Where are they getting their protein? Excuse me? Where are they getting their protein?
The grass.
Wake up. If I were to ask you now, because you know where I'm going, which has more protein, buffalo meat or kale?
Kale.
50% more, and it's bioavailable. The protein in the buffalo is not bioavailable because your body can't access it because it's so hard to digest. I'm just telling you, man, it's huge how we've been lied to and we're not getting it. Calcium doesn't come from milk. It comes from greens. Let me give you an example. Last year a couple years ago, we had a major drought, and it was really hot. And my vegetables grew too fast, way too fast because it was so hot. And so my chickens are getting this excessive amount of greens because we can't get it all, we can't eat it. And in August, my wife is complaining, Paul, I can't break these eggshells. What are you doing? I said, I'm not doing anything, I'm just giving them greens. Because the calcium content was so high in the greens, the shells were so hard she could hardly break them. Awesome. But you see, I love these things that I experience in life because it demonstrates and shows me what's real. Greens provide calcium, big time. Milk doesn't. You see, the milk has lysine. You don't have lysine, you can't digest that. I was waiting for a cow. Here's what's interesting, if you look at nature again, nothing in nature except a pig drinks milk after infancy. Nothing in nature is drinking milk after infancy except a pig. Look at it. And humans. And when you drink milk, eat ice cream, eat cheese, your nose plugs up, you get mucus, and you feel funky. And you think it's okay. I'm just telling you, man, it's so amazing how we don't get it. And we live with, this neighbor across the street is really cool. He's a medical doctor. And when women come to his office, they bring these kids in with bronchitis and asthma. First thing he tells them, get them off of wheat and dairy right now. No more wheat and dairy. And so they look at him like, you're not going to give us a prescription? I just gave you one. Get them off wheat and dairy. They come back in a few weeks, the kid's totally well. They're shocked, like, I can't believe it, man. I told you, wheat and dairy isn't good for you. You know what's the problem with wheat today? Wheat was made good. Remember our anthem, American anthem? Amber waves of grain. Wheat used to grow 4 and 5 feet tall. That's how it was made. Today it's a foot and a half off the ground. It's been altered. And you can read this book by, I don't remember, it's a doctor who wrote it, you know, Wheat Belly. You know, again, just if you just pay attention to what you're living with, the word gluten, for all of you who are, 30 years older, you never heard it when you were growing up. You never heard the word because it wasn't a problem. Now that wheat has been altered, it's no longer wheat, everybody's gluten intolerant. I'm just telling you, man, we got to wake up. Our food's being messed with, big time. And there's nothing wrong with our bodies. They didn't forget how to heal. Our food's corrupted, and we got to get it. If it wasn't made like it was originally, the alteration is not beneficial. It's not good, and we got to pay attention.
Well, do you take all your greens to your chickens, or do you let the chickens come
No,
to you?
if you remember who I was, I'm Swiss German. And in that culture, there's order. If I bring my chickens here, they will destroy my whole garden and make a mess of everything. So for order, I take everything to them, contain them, and they process it for me, and I bring it back in a very orderly fashion and spread it in my garden. So it's culture. Because, man, they come to my garden, they would just eat everything. I'm telling you, they just destroy it. And so I'm not up to it.
And you recycle the hay or whatever you have in there and mulch that? Or
No, there's no hay in there.
Oh, really?
Let's go to the chicken pen.
Throw it on the ground?
Well, here, I want you guys to get some broccoli. Because I want you to see how good broccoli is. And it was planted in April, and this is the end of September. Does anybody have a garden, know what broccoli's like that old?
No, but I don't last that long.
Yeah, well, come eat it. Go down there. There's a broccoli right there. And go eat. And while on your way, pick a cucumber because they're really good. Yeah,
The
yeah.
only thing you stake is the raspberry.
They're not staked. They're just held in with wires so they don't fall over.
Have you had lemon cucumbers?
Yeah, but I like this one.
Like that one.
This one here comes from the Middle East, from Israel. and it's so productive. Produces so many. When you, yeah, again, as you eat it, check out the water content. Take your thumb and push that stem off. I'm sorry. Yeah, just push it off. Push it with your thumb. Push that off.
Got it.
There you go. Now, are you noticing the water content?
Hey, Paul, really quick, these two apple trees along the fence, do you know which ones those are?
Yeah, this one here. The first one is a Spartan.
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 Okay. And what's the second one?
The second one is a no, the first one is a Fuji. The next one's Spartan.
Okay, Fuji Spartan. Okay, it's a Spartan.
How's this get the